Don't you agree that the best part of your childhood was building a bear? Now imagine if you could build a baby. Ever wonder if you could build a baby? Maybe you'd want your child to look exactly like you. Maybe you'd want it to look nothing like you at all. Each person is made up of many cells which contains a nucleus. In the nucleus is where we find the DNA. This stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA takes the shape of a double helix. It is made up of sugar, phosphate, and nitrogenous bases, also known as nucleotides. DNA is made up of 4 similar organic bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Bases A and T are paired up, and C and G. Code is repeated over and over to make up your DNA. Since the DNA is unable to remove itself from the nucleus, AGCT is used to build messenger's RNA during a process called transcription. Difference between RNA is that it uses a different type of acid called ribonucleic acid. Next step is translation. Translation uses the RNA chain to add various combinations of the 20 amino acids to create a protein chain. The proteins in the cell, in turn, display the genes we see in all living things such as hair color, freckles, eye color, etc. Genetics is a study of heredity and the variation of inherited characteristics from one generation to another. This refers to genetic properties, features, and characteristics of an organism. Our DNA compacts together to form chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of genes and are the things that make organisms what they are. Your traits are a result of the interaction of genes from both parents. 23 chromosomes come from your father and 23 chromosomes come from your mother, resulting in 46 total chromosomes. The reason you look the way you do is because of the alleles you inherited from both your parents. Alleles can either be dominant or recessive. Some examples are curly hair is dominant over straight hair, and brown eyes is dominant over blue eyes. Epigenetics refers to external modifications to DNA that turns genes on or off. Epigenetics can also play a role in how you look. Certain circumstances in life causes genes to be turned on or off. Examples include where you live, since it can affect your skin pigmentation. And what you eat can affect how you look physically. Human genome is all the genetic information in a person. We all have 30,000 genes that are sequenced with the 4 nitrogenous bases. The Human Genome Project was developed in 1990. It began the process of producing maps of the entire genetic makeup of a human being. The goal of the project was sequencing and identifying all 3 billion chemical units in the human genetic instruction set. Each of us contains many slight variations in our genomes that make us unique. We are able to pinpoint where certain genes are in our DNA. Sometimes these variations can have an effect on us, leading to many genetic disorders. Transmission of genetic mutations from one generation to the next helps to explain why many diseases run in families. The aim of the project is to come up with new drugs and genetic therapies to combat genetic disorders. Question is, can you choose what your baby looks like? It is now possible to genetically engineer your baby physically and for intelligence. This is all done by a technology called CRISPR. Doctors are able to go into our DNA and remove a certain gene, for instance a hair color gene, and insert a new piece in order to change it. Another technique is pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. PGD allows parents to select traits in their children. This process works by extracting a dozen eggs from the mother and using it in vitro fertilization to fertilize the eggs with the father's sperm. The eggs are fertilized, doctors analyze the genomes. The parents have the option to select one of the embryo with their desired trait and insert it into the mother's womb. $1,000,000 question: is the idea of a designer baby a good one? There are many cons to this. Since the process of designing your own baby is quite pricey, it can create a gap between the rich and the poor. Those that are not genetically modified may be looked down on compared to those that are. All in all, does it really matter what your child looks like? Will it make a mother love her child any more or any less than she already does? Guys, it's not what's on the outside that matters, it's what's on the inside that counts.